Thank you.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone as the case may be, wherever you are in the world right now. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the two-day webinar and virtual site visit to Naga City for the 2020-2021 Designing Resilience in Asia Design Competition, which is taking place starting today, January 21. We were ready last year to welcome as many 20 universities and colleges from all over the world last year. In fact, two teams were able to make it. A 20-plus contingent from the King Mongkut University of Technology, Tonbori, headed by Dr. Martin Schultz of the School of Architecture and Design. There was also a smaller team from Kyushu University in Japan, led by Dr. Kazuo Asahiro. But because of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, the original plan did not push through. But thanks to the persistence of the organizers, especially Dr. Schutz of Kimot, Dr. Oscar Carasido Garcia Villalba of the National University of Singapore, and Dr. Richard Cordial of our very own Bicol State College of Applied Sciences and Technology. Readjustments were made to allow us to push through with the competition. We therefore look forward to working with the best young design students and professionals in the planet to help come up with innovative solutions to the challenging problems we are facing in Naga. Rest assured that we will take a look at your ideas with open minds and hearts with the end in view of implementing what we can make to make our city become a better place, both for our people and for others who may come to visit us. Thank you and more power, and may the best ideas win.
Okay. Jennifer, you let me know when to play the next one.
Okay, Martin. Can you play the message of the president again? Maybe.
Yes. All right.
Thank you so much.
Resilient in led by the School of Design and Environment at the National University of Singapore for pursuing the 2023 National Design Competition amid this global pandemic. Kudos out to both the University of Technology, Tonbori, KMUTT of Thailand for hosting the design competition using state-of-the-art our home and service studio, the Design Competition Site, where the participants excellence imagine the future of design. We are delighted to be part of this prestigious competition, together with the Academy in Architecture, Urban Design, and put the student ideas into practice, designing innovative solutions for rapid urbanization and the effects of climate change. With a strong network of DRIA and our partnership with KMUTT, we are driven by this opportunity to develop integrative and holistic approaches through our core function towards use of resources, nucleus in the urban area of Naga City. Once again, congratulations and good luck to the participating universities.
Okay. Jennifer, you're mute.
Okay, thank you so much. Sorry for that. Okay. For this, so for this two-day event, what our participants will be expecting are our lectures. We have 4 topics for the first day. So the 3 topics of which are all from Naga City, which is the profile, everything about Naga, the profile of Naga City, to the directions, then the challenges that we are facing in terms of disasters that we are experiencing, then climate change, and giving emphasis on the resettlement projects being spearheaded by the city, since housing is one of the primary concerns of our city. And on the second day, of course, we'll be having the virtual site tour. So we will be presenting to you the pre-selected sites. And okay, so for each event, for the two-day event, so each session we will be having 2 hours per session, so that it won't be too much for the participants. And each topic would last for 15 to 20 minutes. Then at the end of all the topics, the open forum, we will be having the open forum for 30 to 40 minutes. Okay. So may I ask, to proceed with the lectures, may I ask Sir Willie Prillas, in behalf of the Naga City team, to introduce all the speakers from Naga City. Sir Willie?
Thank you, Ma'am Jan. Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, or good evening, or wherever you are, or whatever your situation is. Welcome to Naga. For this session, we have with us myself and 2 of my colleagues. We have Engineer Rolando Campillos. He is the head of the Housing Settlements and Development Office of Naga City. We're also joined by Mr. Ernesto El Camel. He is the head of the City Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office. So the sequence of the presentation is as follows. I'll do a quick presentation on the city's profile and then the development directions. The presentation will feature a message from our mayor and some slides to capture what we're facing. It will be followed quickly by a presentation by Mr. Campillos on the housing programs of the city, as well as by Mr. El Camel as to the disaster risks and the challenges we're facing, especially in the light of the 3 recent typhoons that we faced, as well as the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. So may I request that my slides be flashed or be shared by Martin? So thank you. I hope you are seeing now the first slide that I have, the title slide, the city profile and development directions.
Yes, sir, we can see it.
Okay, so let's move to the next slide. So the outline of the presentation is consists of 4 items. First are a number of slides focusing on a briefer about Naga, to be followed by some slides about our 15-year comprehensive land use plan. In some other areas or jurisdictions, it's your structural plan. And then we will share video presentation of Mayor Legacion on the development directions of the city. And then I'll wrap it up by concluding slide on the insights and challenges that can be derived from the presentation. So next slide. So this is Naga. We're a small city compared to the two biggest cities in the Philippines, or the three biggest cities, the major urban centers. These are Manila, Cebu, and Davao, of course. Ours is a city that is located around 400 kilometers away to the south of Metro Manila, and also the same distance from Cebu, which is the second biggest city. Manila, by the way, has a population, or is considered as a megalopolis. It has a population of easily around 15 million residents. But Naga City has a population of only around 196,000 as of 2015. Today, we're projecting that our population would already reach 225,000 by year end. But during the day, our population grows to around 400 to 500,000. The main reason is that as a city, we are host to the urban basic services. This includes banking, financial services, and education services, and most other services you see in a city, which are not available in our neighboring towns. Building on this fact, we have organized what is called the Metro Naga Development Council that tries to bring together to build on this relationship so that we can promote synergy and move towards a single development direction. So it's a partnership between Naga and 17 neighboring towns. Actually, it already grew because some other towns far away from us have already joined. In fact, one belonging to a neighboring province, Masbate, to the north, as well as several other towns to the east. So moving forward, if you don't have any question, let's move on to the next slide. So this is our governing framework. In the city, we believe that governance is being driven by three considerations. One is leadership. We call this progressive development perspective. So the objective of government is to equalize opportunities, especially for the economically challenged members of our society. So it requires an enlightened perception of the poor. This is important because leadership, of course, plays a key role on the trajectory as well as the velocity of your growth. But this should be coupled with two other considerations. One is and this should go hand in hand. One is partnerships, and the other is participation. Partnerships allow you to tap other resources. If you only do leadership, you are only constrained by your budget and probably some of your allies in the national government. But if you practice more functional partnerships, you can actually tap into resources of your residents for mutually beneficial undertakings, as well as other civil society organizations who share the same directions or priorities as you. But that can only happen, having meaningful partnerships only happen if you allow these partners to have a say on the decisions you're making. That's why we were saying that it should go hand in hand with participation. One without the other will not really do a lot. So moving forward, next slide, please. We have, this is a review of how planning thought has evolved. In the 50s, in the last century, middle of last century, planning is seen as a purely technical activity, mainly in the architectural profession, but it has grown in its scope. In the 1960s, it was seen as a rational activity. This was because of the introduction of scientific method in planning, especially management decision-making and corporate planning. But in the 90s, planning is now seen as a political process. That's why in the Philippines, persons like myself have the title called coordinator, planning and development coordinator. This is because we shift from a town planner or an expert to one who tries to mediate between competing interests. For example, let's use housing as an example. In housing, this will be discussed by Engineer Campillos. There are key stakeholders. You have the landowners, you have the developers, you have the urban poor federation. So their interests often conflict with each other. So the role of government is to facilitate and ensure that mutually beneficial solution to the problems of the community is arrived at. And this takes place in the public arena. So next slide. So where are we going? Always a key challenge for a city is the growing population. For instance, I mentioned that in 2015 our population was almost already 200,000. If you use three growth scenarios, which are rooted in our experience, 4 decades ago we were growing only at 1.8. 10 years ago we grew as fast as 2.9. But the average is 2.3. We're looking at an increased population of roughly 350,000 to 500,000. What do this mean? This means challenges for the city. One, it clearly means that over the next 20 years or so, we should be prepared to handle even a doubling or more than doubling of our population. It will put a lot of stress on the resources of the city, ensuring that the kids will go to school, ensuring that jobs are created so that people get employed, ensuring that there are enough health facilities so that when a pandemic like COVID happens again, we have services that will handle that. And this is shown in the maps to the right. You will see that in the 80s, our population was only 90,000. 2 decades later, it grew to 137. And 2 decades later, again, we're now more than 200,000. So this only goes to show that while our population is rapidly increasing, the land area has practically remained the same. Next slide. And this is not only true for Naga, but for practically all other cities. Cities are resource intense. This is a slide taken from ADB and CDIA. Cities consume 75% of the natural resources of the world. They produce 50% of the global waste. They account for 60 to 80% of emissions. On the other hand, they generate 80% of the global GDP. So this is the upside, that 3 others are the downside. But again, just like Naga's experience, we only occupy a small percentage of the land surface of the earth. That's why even the International Development Organization says that we should be prepared to generate lots of resources to be able to address the needs of cities. And this brings in the challenges that Naga is facing. And we hope that through this research competition, you can help us come up with innovative solutions to our problems. Next slide. Oh, so this impels the need to prioritize, because government resources, of course, are finite. Our wants are infinite, but what we can implement is only limited by the budget that we have and the resources that our partners can bring into the table. So next slide. So one way through which we can optimize our resources is to introduce planning documents. And a good example of this is the land use plan that is almost ready for approval. The approach in coming up with that land use plan is multi-level. We have consulted with subsectoral councils, for example, sessions with children, education, women, to surface their concerns. We have also consulted with them to identify programs, projects, and activities, as well as policies that will address the concerns raised or generated out of these conversations with these sectors. And later today, Mr. El Camil will discuss the DRR mainstreaming that we are experiencing, how we are addressing the resilience issues, especially in the context of climate change. So this is a demonstration. The current slide is a demonstration as to how the approach works. And we're using this plan to respond to the SDGs, of course, so that we are aligned with the international community directions. So next slide. Essentially, we have a vision for a happy place. And one of the components of this vision is to make sure that migration and development is incorporated. You see, Naga City and Philippines, by extension, is a migrant sending country. 10% of our people are already working abroad. So we feel that they have to have a voice in our plans and in our decision-making processes. So the graph shows you the extent through which these migrants are covered in the city. Easily 16% of the population have a relative working abroad. Next slide. Poverty continues to be a challenge. We are using 3 sources of data. The official data of the national government says that 15% of the population are below poverty. We also are using a self-rated approach where local university have asked a sample of 400 household or residents, whether they're poor or not. So it's a self-rated approach. 43% said that they are poor. And a local survey called Community-Based Monitoring System said that 33.4 or a third of our city population are poor. So we'd like to believe that it's somewhere along the CBMS scores. It's somewhere in between the higher limit and the lower limit. Having this will allow you to really improve your targeting based on the resources that you have. Next slide. There is also the environmental challenges. For example, we have data on air. Air is a challenge. Air pollution is not seen, but it's a challenge, and we're using locally generated data. One challenge with the data sets on air, local and international, is that locally we seem to be okay, but if you compare it with the international benchmark, all over the years, it appears that we are not actually up to par. We are failing in ensuring that our air is clean. We're also looking at water quality. There are areas, we have a major river bisecting the city center, and those areas are actually the ones falling in terms of water quality. We have also done greenhouse gas emissions. The 2 biggest contributors to our greenhouse gas emissions are the energy sector and the transportation sector. So if you want to ensure a greener city, you will have to address both. Next slide. And this is a summary of the challenges we're facing, the hazards we're facing. We're a typhoon-prone area. In fact, just last year, over the months of October and November, we were visited by 4 typhoons, and they caused a lot of damage. Together with typhoons, we experience flooding, although there are times that we experience flooding even when there are no typhoons. We're going to experience rising temperature over the next 15 years. It's projected that if under the do-nothing scenario, our temperature will increase between 1.5 to 2 degrees centigrade. And this will create droughts and landslides during wet season, as well as we have to deal with seismic hazards. This is something that we'll have to prepare because we are close to a fault line in the Philippine map. Next slide, please. The new land use plan also provides for a heritage district. Naga is the 3rd oldest city in the Philippines, dating back from the arrival of the Spaniards. But this is something that we're only trying to leverage and take advantage of. Next slide. So in our land use plan, we ask our stakeholders what should be our preferred urban form, and the majority decided that we should go back to a compact city arrangement. And this is reflected in the next slide. So you will see that previously there was a compact arrangement. In the 2000s, we went into a leapfrogging strategy because of the housing needs of the urban poor. But under this proposal, we are going back to a compact arrangement, focusing on the major urban center. Next slide. And this is guided by the following land use policies. We have identified 3 growth areas. Of course, the traditional city center, but 2 other growth centers have been identified so that growth can be dispersed more democratically. You have also adopted the Metro Naga framework, our complementation with the neighboring towns in terms of their plans. We are promoting mixed-use development to bring homes closer to the places of work. Green growth is an aspiration to emphasize livability and integrated resource management. Of course, the usual commercial and industrial development, so that Naga will not left behind. But at the same time, preserving our protected areas and recovering public space. Most often, these are competing interests. That's why the city needs to really fine-tune its policies and calibrate it well to really address these areas. Next slide. So before I go into the insights, let me share with you the development directions of the city as enunciated by our mayor. May I request that Mayor Nelson's video presentation be shared? It will not take a long time. I think it's only around three minutes. Yes, thank you. By the way, the texts are illegal, but I think you will get the thank you. I have to apologize that the text of the video are in Bicol. But if I am to summarize the message of the video in a sentence, it is that even in the midst of challenges like the pandemic, the typhoons, the African swine flu epidemic that has affected our city, we continue to pursue development so that we will not waste these opportunities. So this brings us to my final slide. Essentially, it's about the challenges of urban planning. It is essential not only because it is a key management function, but because of its governance dimension. The second point is that urban planning nowadays is no longer rational or technical activity, but it's also imbued by politics. That's why you have to mediate competing interests in the public arena. And lastly is that you can do a lot more. You can do more with less by ensuring that participation and partnerships are a key ingredient of your governance direction. So I'll end at that. I'll try to answer your questions or clarifications the best that I can. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Willie. That was very nice presentation. Jennifer, may I ask you to continue?
Okay, thank you, Martin, and thank you, Willie, for the presentation. So the next topic to be presented would be the challenges being faced by Naga in terms of climate change. So our speaker has already been introduced a while ago. So let us all welcome Mr. El Camilo. Sir, you can now proceed with your presentation.
Thank you, Ma'am Jen. Good afternoon to everyone. And this is my a short presentation for this afternoon. So this is the overview of the city's vulnerability to disaster challenges and disaster response, which we focus on disaster resilience. Next slide, please. On the fourth slide. Can we go to slide, fourth slide, please?
It's a land area of 80. Naga City is a city in the Philippines. It's a land area of 84.8 square kilometers in size.
Mundo, Mayor's Office. Mayor's Office na ng venue.
Karen.
Umali din si Engineer Mundo. May maling time na bitaw.
Our demographics would show
Dito ba?
Naga City has 100,931 people or population.
Kasi mo sa'yo magpapili. Pwede itong aga. I-reset mo na lang doon sa taas kung aga. Iset mo na lang kung araw, hapon.
Si Mayor,
Yan, yung primisit ni Mayor.
There are some microphones.
Sir,
Diamond.
excuse
Pwedeng
me.
aga yan.
May okay. I think Engineer Riley, can you please switch off your or mute your mic? Okay.
Ha? Okay.
The program focuses in where the city would like to be using the information communications technology tools. A city that uses ICT as an effective tool for informed and responsive decision making. iGovernance or the iGov, which uses the ICT as a tool for good governance, particularly the three I's, or the information openness, transparency, and accountability, the interactive engagement or inclusive decision making with a consultative dialogue, the innovative management or responsiveness of the city government of Naga. It started in 2001 and was institutionalized through the City Ordinance 2002-063. The ICT tools to enhance 3Is were the official city website or the www.naga.gov.ph. Recently, it was seen that it has 8.5 million hits, particularly whenever the city faces calamities or emergencies, wherein the population and other Nagaenos outside of Bicol or outside the Philippines would rely on this website. The social media or the official city Facebook page, the city government of Naga, recently on December 2020, had reached 500,000 viewers. The tools, ICT tool number 1 is the website, which was rebranded as Naga Smiles website. The contents, service delivery details, the budget and finances, biddings, procurement, while since 2001, way before the DILG or the Department of Interior local government required the same for seal of good local governance. Ordinances and resolutions of the city government of Naga. This is so-called the official gazette of the city. Since 2010, present, executive orders, administrative orders and proclamations, as well as ordinances and resolutions of the city council will be published here. Then now we have also the Naga Smiles magazine or documents of the activities. Naga City was among the number 2 among Philippine local government units, one of the top government websites of the country, wherein we have more than 102,000 visitors, 844,000 pages, and 8 million, more than 8 million hits, using the bandwidth of 290.88 gigabytes. The second tool, the social media or the Facebook page. Presently, Facebook is the most popular platform in the Philippines. Not only in the Philippines but also in the Southeast Asia. Facebook, where people are currently using the platform that also called highly interactive in the Philippines. Here you would see comparatively how the Philippines compared to India and Indonesia and its percentage of population who use the Facebook page. The city government Facebook page, wherein information dissemination as a tool on city events, issues, programs and projects, as well as during pandemics, disasters and calamities. This is being used. The social media use the analytics for COVID-19 response and for its engagement in community and social responsibilities. We have information openness plus the interactive engagement, inclusive decision making is equal to innovative management. This program or this platform showed 481 800,000 followers in the city's Facebook page. This table would show how the city adopt this platform and to make it or produce its dashboard by presenting how many active cases in the city the COVID has. It has daily presentation. January 18, this is the breakdown per barangay or per community. Wherein as of this week, San Felipe has or Concepcion Pequeña has the most number of cases, while the rest has no cases, which is being recorded. Currently, we have 45 active cases, 590 recoveries, while we have 26 deaths. or a total of 671 that were affected by COVID-19. Um, this this social media platform has been used being issued to our stakeholders, to local businessmen, banks, and other agencies that were heavily affected by this catastrophe or by this pandemic. For the purpose of this discussion, it is being divided into two. One, the use of information communications technology for health, which we focus on innovative management of COVID-19 pandemic. The second is the use of ICT for disaster resilience, which we focused on the management in typhoons, as well as the flooding in the city of Naga. First, we use it for health, not only using the graphs and other technology for presentation of the COVID-19 pandemic response. In the Philippines, the Department of Health reported 501,000 cases and 9,895 deaths as of January 18, 2021. And in Naga City, a total number of active cases 54, based on a total of 635, wherein we encountered 26 deaths. So here, the city does not only rely on the current dashboard or platform to show or to present the cases of the city to its population, to its stakeholders, as well as the business sector and the trade and commerce in the industry. We did this to show how the city respond well to the pandemic. From the confirmed cases, the probable cases, suspect cases, the quarantine. It shows how many were quarantined, how many were released, how many were quarantined in their homes, how many were quarantined in the city-controlled facility, and how many were quarantined in a hotel quarantine facility. How many were tested? How many of the total population were currently tested with rapid antibody test? How many were tested among population with the swab test? So recently, 637 individuals were tested, which resulted to 13 negative results, and a total of 685 of all the population in the city were tested. The establishment of entry logs, the city does not want to close its borders to other municipalities, particularly those who are engaging business or working in the city. But yet, we have to protect the people of Naga as well as its economy, and also protecting the people who were entering in Naga. So as you would see, this is the case study on health. The first is the information gathering from the city epidemiological unit, the CESU, the surveillance unit of the settled office, and the city health office health monitoring system together with the Department of Health regional office, where it issues the persons who were affected or recently has a positive contact among other persons. It goes to the local health board, the information office, GIS applications, and into the processing through the website. We have also the Naga City COVID-19 monitoring and command center. And this is that results to decision-making process wherein each and every article or case is being acted independently or upon the needs of the population. Through the Health and Emergency Response Task Force, a task force consisted of the government employees, the government personnel, and from other national government agencies, together with private individuals as volunteers or an interagency task force. We have the epimetrics. This is the National Resilience Council, wherein we use the dashboard to update or to develop response mechanism towards the defeat of COVID-19. In response to the COVID-19 pandemic, the city government of Naga and the Ateneo de Naga University, as well as the Naga National Resilience Council, had joined hands in putting together a dashboard of critical indicators and other essential information for decision-making process. It is designed for the use of by the Health Emergency Response Task Force, a body tasked to coordinate response against COVID-19. It is composed of interagency from the city government agencies, from the private agencies, as well as the city's stakeholders. So from this, we also developed the e-Salvar or the QR code. It is an electronic application that connects to the computers and the mobile phones for contact tracing. This electronic platform traced each and individual that recording to our database, not only that they are from Naga, but also those Nagueños or returning residents from other regions as well as other countries. Another application is the application on the dengue or the hemorrhagic fever. Again, the information gathering by the CIDAT office, the information technology office, and the GIS application of the office, and the local health board that assist all in all alongside with the stakeholders. Our decision-making process, together with the barangay health volunteers, sustained monitoring to this, which offered these results. Again, going back to COVID-19 pandemics, the AP metrics or the analytics shows how responsive the city government was. As of now, Naga City is preparing for the procurement of vaccines and analyzing who would be the first one to be vaccinated based on the current protocol. The second was the use of the information communications technology for disaster resilience. Here, we focus on innovative management of typhoon. Remember that Naga City is located on typhoon belt and within the river basin. So here, a map is shown how Naga fares with other local government units. Naga City is in the base of the foot of Mount Isarog and within the mouth of the Naga River with affluents from the Bicol River basin and the Bicol River. The disaster resilience process, the same with the first one presented. We have the information gathering, a real-time information gathering. The rapid risk assessment is being channeled through the Crisis Communications Council cluster. Together with the DOST interventions, the early warning signals that has been coordinated through the DOST or Department of Science and Technology. We have the typhoon update, also a private citizen that sends real-time data or real-time analysis of typhoon for the city of Naga. That is information openness for the city government. We we publish the constant updates, typhoon track, the relief and rehabilitation recovery that is always recorded and submitted to national government agencies. So as we see, these are the maps that are being generated by the ICT office. Here, the plotting on the map showed how Naga City is being affected with the real-time data on rainfall and its weather. This enhanced program led to post-typhoon recovery efforts, a fast and efficient recovery program wherein, when it was published through the web page of the city, it has an 8-day daily average of 256,000, a normal daily average of 20,411. That is how it rates the government's program through the Facebook page. So from here, the gathered information, the typhoon update, the social media, the city website, together with the central communication system, transmits the information of the real-time information to the barangay or to the local host community. With this, the city government has an open information openness, the constant updates, the typhoon track, the flooding hazards, the relief and recovery, reporting the safety of the citizens. The citizens were involved in the office and programs that assist the city government of Nagas with the CDRRM Council in response to emergencies and calamities. Together with the private sector volunteers, the innovative management results to zero casualty and faster disaster recovery. While the city recently experienced typhoons in December, Naga City suffered from 3 typhoons recently: the Typhoon Kinta, Typhoon Ruli, and Typhoon Ulysses. While this catastrophe wreaked havoc in the city of Naga that cost more than 2 billion pesos in damages, particularly to agriculture, the food, and other infrastructure damages the city had incurred. However, with an effective management of the programs and projects of the CDRRMO, we still manage a zero casualty and injuries, leading to fast recovery of the city government from typhoons. All of this could not be happening or would not have happened without the help of the agencies, the private agencies that help the Naga or assist the Naga in developing materials and programs that are through Nagueño, that help Nagueño elevate their education and alleviate their poverty. From this point, I end my slide. I say thank you very much. And whenever or you need to contact more of us, here is our web page, www.naga.gov.ph, and the cdremo@naga.gov.ph as our email address. Again, thank you very much and good afternoon.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. El Camil. We can now have our next presenter, still from the City Government of Naga, Engineer Campillos. Sir, you can proceed with your presentation.
Jennifer, there are 2 files.
Yes.
One is
Okay.
CCRPH walkthrough, and one is CCRPH. These are the only files that I have right now.
So I think Engineer Campillos will be presenting from his computer because he was not able to send the file.
All right. Okay.
His presentation. So we'll be the one presenting.
Okay. So you need to make him host.
Yes. May I ask Mr. Willie? Sir Willie, are you still here?
Ma'am,
Yes po.
may
Yes, sir.
may power outage lang, may internet outage lang kami digdi City Hall, ma'am, ta brown out. Pwedeng
Okay
ano ni
po, okay.
sa arata na lang si Rolly.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So,
Naka-mobile data ako.
okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you. Wait lang. Wait po. Okay. Martin,
Yes.
I will make you host again because I was informed that they have this. They also have power outage in City Hall now, so our next speaker will not be able to play his presentation using the laptop. So he'll just be presenting it tomorrow. Then we can now proceed to the next presentation, starting with the CCRPH walkthrough. So it starts with the CCRPH walkthrough, then followed by the Viscous Building System.
Okay.
These are all videos.
Right. So I start the next video.
Okay. So I will anyway. There's already an introduction there, so there will be no need for me to introduce. But this will be presented by the team of Viscous. Thank you.
Providing low-cost housing is considered one of the priorities of local governments, such as Naga City, to address the housing needs of the increasing number of urban dwellers. In its effort to be part of the solution in providing livable shelters, Bicol State College of Applied Sciences and Technology, BISCAS, has developed housing technology. Welcome to the BISCAS Climate Change Resilient Pilot House. I'm Jennifer Vibar, an architect and associate professor of the Faculty of Architecture. I will be your guide for this walkthrough. To start with, may I introduce Engineer Annalyn Madrid, our head for special programs, to provide us with a brief background on how the CCRPH was conceived and ongoing partnerships for its utilization.
Our partnership with the JSF Nexus and the City of Naga under the Integrated Resource Management in Asian Cities, the Urban Nexus Project, was a brainchild of the design and development of the Climate Change Resilient Pilot Housing, or the CCRPH. Chanced by the lack of affordable housing in City of Naga and region and the threats of the typhoons and climate change, we committed to integrate the Nexus approach into development of a resilient housing. The design of Pilot House was based on the principles of climate change resiliency, affordability, and green building. The CCRPH has the capacities absorb and respond to the adverse effects of climate hazards without significant changes to its basic function and structure. It was intended to serve as an alternative model for low-cost socialized housing projects in the country. Along with the construction of the CCRPH, system and products were also developed, such as the innovative building design system, which was accredited by ITEC of National Housing Authority, and the 3D models of multi-block vibrating machine, the modular block system. The CCRPH has received the highest rating of Kamagong from Philippine Green Building Initiative for Green Building Standards, Band Certificate in Excellence in Design for Greater Efficiency of IFC World Bank. Currently, the CCRPH is being used as laboratory for both students and faculty, and we are already underway of its for making it available for use by low-income house dwellers through partnership with private sector and local government units.
Situated within the school grounds in Peña Francia Avenue, Naga City, the climate change resilient pilot house was built on an idle vacant lot previously used as a dump site for unserviceable materials and trash. This two-story house has a total area of 71 square meters. It has a frontage of 4.17 meters and a depth of 8.7 meters. The house is firewalled on both sides along the depth as it was intended to be built as a row house when utilized for low-cost housing developments. Commercially available materials such as concrete, steel, and wood were primarily used for strength and durability to be able to withstand typhoons, as Naga City is within the typhoon path and hit by typhoons year-round, with the strongest in the last quarter of the year. The direct construction cost amounted to 10,827 per square meter for the CCRPH, 36% lower compared to the average house construction cost in Naga City in 2015 when it was built. Other two variations on cost were also available, differing on the house features. Affordable housing variant, having basic features, amounts to 5,492 per square meter, and the Biscast housing variant, having basic features plus basic finishes such as plaster, paint, and tiles, amounts to 9,221 per square meter. Affordable, climate change resilient, and green are the three primary features of our climate change resilient pilot house, or CCRPH, as what it is popularly known. The CCRPH technology has been awarded the accreditation of Innovative Technologies for Housing, or ITEC, by the National Housing Authority. This means that our technology can be utilized or adapted for low-cost housing project developments. The CCRPH is a recognized green building by the Philippine Green Building Initiative, having been evaluated on 2 green building rating systems. It achieved the highest rating of Camagong on 8 categories of the green building rating system, geared for resilient and energy efficiency for the environment, or green for homes. The CCRPH is an EDGE certified building. It has achieved 61% savings on energy, 95% on water, and 79% less embodied energy in materials, based on the rating system Excellence in Design for Greater Efficiencies. The house welcomes its occupants with a 4.69 square meters entrance porch. The finished floor line is elevated at 500 millimeters from the ground in anticipation of possible flooding in reference to its location. The ground floor has an open plan. The 22.5 square meter interior space provided can be utilized for living, dining areas, and kitchen. The flooring is concrete slab on fill with white ceramic tile finish for all areas. The exterior walls are constructed from specially designed hollow concrete blocks, which is denser than the regular commercially available blocks for strength and durability. The hollow cells serve as insulation for cooler interior spaces. White paint is used for both interior and exterior walls, and the ceiling for lesser heat absorption. The clear ceiling height for the ground floor is 2.58 meters and 2.4 meters for the second floor. This is measured using multiples of the HCB height plus the mortar. Openings are provided at the front and rear for natural lighting and cross ventilation, with a wall-to-window ratio of 40%. Windows are aluminum-framed sliding glass with transom. Bronze-colored glazing is used to minimize glare and heat. Openings at the lower part of the wall provide additional entry of air into the building. Exterior doors are solid wooden panel doors and interior doors are flash-type wooden doors, while PVC door is used for toilet and bath. Dimensions of doors and windows were based on the HCB dimensions. For instance, this window has a width of 7 times the HCB length and a height of 6 times the HCB height. This enabled 30% reduction on material wastage. Convenience outlets are placed at 900 mm from the finished floor line, higher than the standard in anticipation for possible flooding. A 2.56 square meter toilet and bath with lavatory, water closet, and shower is provided at the ground floor. Likewise is a 3.54 square meter service area at the rear. Moving on to the second floor, the stairs is L-type using wooden steps, railing and landing, including the second floor landing. The PVC corrugated sheet skylight provides natural lighting for the stairway and the living spaces. There are 2 bedrooms in the second floor. Each has an area of 9.37 square meters. The floor is reinforced concrete using slab block and finished using red cement. Each bedroom is enclosed by a drywall partition. A gap is provided to allow continuous airflow throughout the second floor space. Indoor air quality is monitored via CO2 sensor. Indoor temperature is around 3 to 4 degrees lower than the outside temperature, measured at 3 different times of the day. Windows opening to the outside are provided for each bedroom for natural lighting and ventilation. This bedroom opens to the balcony.
No, I was trying. I cannot mute them. No, I was trying. Especially when I'm running it. Especially when I'm running. Yeah, sorry about that.
The
I
roof
was
is
trying.
shed type
Yeah,
using
sorry about that. I was trying.
GI sheet on wooden roof framing. The roof framing used 50 mm by 150 mm wooden rafters and 50 mm by 75 mm wooden purlins with 10 mm PE foam insulation provided. The CCRPH relies on natural lighting during the day provided by the open skylight. For artificial lighting, it uses LED lights for both indoor and perimeter lights. PIR sensor and ambient light sensor are provided for outdoor lights. The CCRPH utilizes 83.42% energy from local utility provider and 16.58% from on-site harvested renewable energy generated from the PVs. This data is based on its energy monitoring system. For its water source, the CCRPH utilizes 35% water supply from the local source and 65% from rainwater harvester for household consumption. Both are treated with UV light penetration. It has a separate water meter for the main water supply and rainwater harvester supply. Gray and black water generated at the CCRPH are treated and used to irrigate the landscape. Sediment filter treatment is used for gray water. The black water from the 3-chamber septic tank passes through a screener and a leach field for final bacterial treatment and serves as irrigation for garden plants. This minimizes freshwater consumption. Non-concrete surfaces around the CCRPH allows rainwater absorption and reduces surface water runoff. This provides substantial area for greens around the building and further reduces the heat island effect brought by the concrete paved surfaces. True to its name, the CCRPH withstood typhoons with Category 5 strength since its completion in 2016. During the last quarter of this year, Naga City was hit by 3 typhoons on a weekly interval. The strongest was Typhoon Rolly with a Category 4 intensity. The CCRPH has stood firm and undamaged after all these typhoons. Affordable, climate change resilient, and green. This is the BISCAS Climate Change Resilient Pilot House.
So the next video will be on how the CCRPH was built. So it's a CCRPH construction. Martin, excuse me, Martin, can you please play the next video?
Hold on.
Okay, thank you.
I am Dr. Victor J. Revilla, an ASEAN engineer, also a civil engineer by profession, and an associate professor of the Bicol State College of Applied Sciences and Technology in the Philippines. Today I will discuss to you the BISCAS building system, or the CCRPH. The BISCAS building system was developed for the CCRPH building. It was intended to be an affordable building system to address the housing for the economic sector in the Philippines. The CCRPH is a small two-story house shown in the dimension of the building plan. Shown are the front and rear elevations of the building. Also indicated are the overall height and various heights of the building features. To ensure an affordable construction, the building was designed to be composed of building components which can be manufactured off-site. Shown are the blocks used for wall construction. The two-cell block is the full block, while the other is the half block. The designer must be mindful of the dimensions of the block. The half block is really one half of the full block. Both blocks are closed at the bottom. Also shown are some manufactured wall blocks. At the left is the column block. This block may change its size depending on the structural engineer's design of the column. Next is the U block, used for lintel beams and for supporting slabs. To eradicate the use of forms and scaffoldings, two components are used: the slab block shown at the left and the prefabricated beams shown at the right. In planning, choosing a building dimension that does not consider the dimensions and laying distances of blocks would result to cutting of some blocks in order to fit the specified dimensions of the plan. This would result to additional labor costs and wastage of materials. In planning the length of the wall and considering one-half running band pattern, one should start with full block and end with a half block for the first layer, while for the second layer, one should start with a half block and end with a full block. Also consider that there is a gap of 1 centimeter between blocks, both vertically and horizontally. The gap is for mortar fill during laying of blocks. As an example, consider planning a 6-meter long wall with 3 supporting columns as shown by the yellow shade. Think that the length of the full block is 32 centimeters and a half block is 16 centimeters, and the column block is assumed as 32 centimeters. The first layer will be composed of 3 column blocks, 2 half blocks, 14 wall blocks, a plaster of 1 centimeter for the first column, 1 centimeter plaster for the last column, and 18 1 centimeter gaps between blocks for mortar fills, resulting to an overall length of 5.96 meters. So there is only a little difference for the length of 6 meters. This same technique is also adapted for other wall lengths. The building was structurally analyzed as a moment-resisting space frame using STAAD structural design software, which generated the following values for the structural components. The footing has a dimension of 1 meter and has 6 pieces 16 millimeter RSB reinforcements in both directions. The column has a section of 0.22 meter by 0.32 meter and 4 pieces 16 millimeter RSB main reinforcements. The CCRPH column was adjusted to accommodate this structural design requirement. The floor beam has a section of 0.20 meter by 0.25 meter and has 4 16 millimeter RSB reinforcements. Both the second floor beam and the roof beam have a section of 0.2 meter by 0.3 meter and 4 pieces 16 millimeter RSB main reinforcements. The construction process. The construction of the CCRPH started with the staking of the area, excavation of the 6 footings, then the floor beams connecting the columns were assembled. The area was filled with boulders and gravel to form the hard core. The plumbing and electrical wrap-ins were installed by the students and workers. The wall blocks were being set using 1/2 running band. An opening was made at the bottom of the column block to allow the removal of loose materials and dirt before the pouring of concrete into the column blocks. The front wall has been set up to the level of the U blocks. The prefabricated beams were installed on top of the U block layer. Prefabricated beams were spaced such that there were 0.5-meter gaps for the placement of the slab blocks. The slab blocks, including the reinforcements, have been laid at the second floor level. The entire slab blocks, including the reinforcements, were covered by a 50-centimeter thick concrete to hold the various components together. For the construction of the second floor, using the blocks, the same process was made as performed in the ground floor construction. Shown are some of the structural details of the CCRP8s. Thank you.
Okay, so these are all our presentations for this day. We can now proceed to, if you have questions, we can now start with the open forum. So Martin, if they have questions, we are now ready for the open forum. I think Willie is also on monitor. And if they have, if they want, we can also look, they can chat their questions, but I think it would be better if they address it directly to our speaker.
Okay. Yeah, so then if there are no questions today, we can certainly try to do that tomorrow. Maybe it gives a chance for everyone to reflect, and also maybe prepare some questions if there is some urge to have some additional information that they would like to ask you. I'm a bit sorry about how everything started today this morning, that I did not find the button to unmute.
It's okay.
Yeah, we had a dry run yesterday, Jennifer and I, and we tried to sort this all out, but because I had to change my account in order to allow for more participants, I kind of like overlooked that, and I hope that tomorrow it will be a little bit more fluid. The more often we do that, I'm sure the better we can do that, including me. And again, like I hope that tomorrow will be successful, and then there will be any questions. I will also stay online a little bit longer if there are some questions to some process or some procedure or understanding, so you can ask them here. I will stay online for another 10 minutes if there are some questions, or they can also be sent by email. There is one question here in the chat. Now I'll be able to see the chat. Is it possible to share the videos and presentations so we can go through them once again? Yes, that's what we are trying to do. I cannot promise that I will send them out today, but I will certainly try to do so. Another thing is we will try to, again, like have this session today as a recording, and maybe we cut off the first part and then I will send out the recording to everyone. And there is one announcement that I also would like to do. I would like to take this opportunity to remind everyone to please confirm your participation by filling out the information in the Google form that I have been sending to the faculty members. The last time I checked, I think there were 4 entries. So I assume that you're all in the process of getting your team together. As mentioned last time, we will kind of like need to know by the end of January how many teams there are, so we can kind of prepare for that. You can find the link to the Google form in one of the emails that I sent you earlier. And again, like this is for the faculty members. And then finally, I would also like to announce that we have changed the email account because there were some questions or some comments that have been made that they have trouble reaching me or reaching us. So now the new email account is DRIA 2021. And I assume that you have all gotten this email because you're all joining this meeting today. I'm just seeing there is another question coming now. I would like to read that. We are the group from Taiwan, from NCKU, and we would like to ask some questions below. How do natural disasters impact the agriculture condition? Is there any contradiction between the adaptation strategies for disaster and the development implementation? Adjustments under pandemic era. Maybe what we can do is we can leave this question for Willie to answer, because I very much believe that he's the expert in this. Or Jennifer, you like to answer?
Martin, I think that could be best answered by either Mr. El Camil from the City DRRMC or Willie.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
So then what I do is yeah, please go ahead.
We'll just I think because today we have this scheduled power interruption that's from 12 o'clock in the afternoon and up to 6 o'clock in the evening today. So I think we really have very poor connectivity. So for me, I had to look for an area where I have a good signal. But I think on the part of Willie and the team of the Naga City, that they really have they're having a hard time having a good connection. So
all right.
Okay.
Okay, great. So what
can I ask a question? Is like, is there any platform or email address that we can ask the question? Like we can send the question to you and receive the answer like in the following weeks.
Yes, you can use
yes,
the.
we.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Jennifer,
so
please go
ahead. We will organize all the questions and then we send it to the email address from DRIA group.
You can send it to us as well as in the email you see the email account of Jennifer and of and as well as Willie. So I think to make sure you get the right response, or as you probably is best to send it to all of us.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. I will also collect these questions here. Yeah. There is one more message here. Willie has just sent to you his email account underneath in the chat. So this is the the email address that you can also send the questions to. Okay. So one more time, I would like to thank everyone for joining today. And I would like to invite you to join tomorrow as well. As I said, I will try to be a little bit more efficient in making this whole webinar work. I'm looking forward to see all of you then as well. And I'm looking forward to receive your questions so we can ask them tomorrow in the open forum. Thank you very much. And see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. Yes.
Is it okay if we stay for
Yes.
a bit more so we can, if you like, we can discuss the proceedings for today?
All right. Okay. Let's do
Just
that.
for a bit. So we make adjustments for tomorrow. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm not sure we got all the people that actually wanted to participate, because I was running the other account on the other computer, and there were some people who didn't see actually the link that I was posting. But yeah, I think we will all figure it out.
Yeah. Okay. So
All right.
anyway, that's just a slight glitch. There's no really no big problem to it. So
you can start asking questions, or we can just start to have the discussion for tomorrow. I think it doesn't matter how many participants there still are. I think it's going to be fine.
Okay, so for tomorrow we still.
Hi, Martin.
Hello.
Hi, Ma'am Jen. Yes,
Sir.
Engineer Campillo is committed to be there tomorrow for the session so that he can share his presentation. It's just unfortunate that we're having this big outage here in the city hall.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No problem. It happens. That is part of it. We are all dealing with the same.
It's actually the outage, Martin, is actually the entire Naga City.
Oh, okay. So how is your electricity?
The national grid. So that's why I'm using my phone now.
Oh,
so
okay.
It took a while for me to log in. I turned on my laptop and used the hotspot from my phone. At the start.
Okay.
So, okay.
And tomorrow, tomorrow should be all right.
Tomorrow will be better. It will be better.
Tomorrow we don't have any scheduled interruption. The next one will be on Saturday. So tomorrow is okay for us.
Okay. All right.